old-fashioned recipes for a long time. And when I say old-fashioned, I mean some of them are like, I've got a recipe cookbook from one of my girlfriends gave me that's from the First World War. But we also like stuff that goes way back earlier. So this recipe is actually from the 1500s, and the original recipe is one of those that says, put enough of this in, put enough of that in, put enough of the other thing in. But, so it sort of leaves it up to the modern cook as to figure out what enough of anything is. But we tried it a number of years ago when we were cooking a feast that was specifically a medieval feast for a Christmas event we were going to. And we liked it so much that we said, buy Libby's. And we, he came to visit me. We had been making it ever since. We had been making the Libby's recipe for probably, I don't know, 20 years, 25 years, something like that, maybe more.
About 35 years.
35 years, yeah. And then we discovered this other recipe and we liked it so much more. It's less of a custard than the classic pie is because of the cheese that's in it. But it doesn't taste like cheese, it just tastes like pumpkin. But it's, I don't know, somehow it's creamier. And I really like it a lot more. So we've been making this for probably 5 or 6 years at least. And I just really like this pie recipe. After the first time we made it, we're like, oh, that is so much better than the one we make. We switched over to it right away. And I came up with the idea of decorating the top of it because of the kind of fancy pies that they did during the Tudor time frame to impress people when they came to feasts. And they would do all these elaborate pastry things, some of which were actually never meant to be eaten. They were actually more like gluey stuff, but we decided that we could do it perfectly right with the crust and allow everyone to eat anything that was in there, and we just stuck with it because we really liked it. Regular pumpkin pie, if you don't keep it refrigerated all the time, or at least in a very cool environment, the custard tends to crack after a while and you'll get liquid coming out of it and stuff like that. You can let this go bad. I mean, we've had that happen before because there's only 2 of us eating these 2 pies. Our kitchen gets quite warm because we're a passive solar house. So if we don't do something with it, it will spoil, but it doesn't spoil nearly as fast as a regular custard pie does, which is what your pumpkins are. So I like it a lot more. It's a more stable pie. If I was going to a party, and I was taking one, I would have much less concern about it cracking the way a regular pumpkin pie can. Whereas this just tends not to. It's more like like a cream cheese cake. It won't tend to break as easily as a regular pumpkin pie will. So yeah, I like it. I see no reason to ever go back to my standard old-fashioned Libby's, and I love Libby's pies. I mean, you know, I just used the standard recipe that was on the back of the pumpkin pie container forever and ever and ever, but, you know. I had done a lot of reading about what type of decorations were used during the medieval time frame at fancy feasts, and because we were doing a feast and we were trying to make things very palatable for your average modern person, but still interesting and a little exotic and different, we were trying to choose recipes that people would enjoy. And so using the crust seemed like a natural decoration, and I think somewhere along the line I'd probably seen it too. I mean, you do see cakes and pies where they put some sort of cookies or wafers or something else on top of it to decorate it, and the original recipe talked about possibly putting wafers on top of it. Well, heaven knows what they meant by wafers. They could have been some sort of cookie, it could have been more of a cracker, heaven knows. But I figured, well, why not use the actual pie crust, which we knew was tasty and people would enjoy when it was cooked. And because it was a Christmas event and it was going sort of the Yule theory, theme of acorns and oaks and that sort of thing that we see in the traditional English Yule, we said, well, using the acorns and the oak leaves would be a perfect decoration. So we made something like 12 pies for that event. Yeah, I cut out a lot of leaves. Took a couple of days to get all that baked. But people loved it. They thought it was awesome.